Welcome to the final week of The Truth About Sex. By now, you should have done one social and one service event together, developing some deep relationships with members of your group. Relationships are what make life rich. Most everyone knows what friends with benefits means, but at CityFam, we like to use the slogan, friends with better benefits. Because as good as sex feels, it's better to have long-term friends than short-term sex partners. Having fun things to do and good people to do them with is what makes all the hard stuff we go through in life more tolerable. Becoming the best version of yourself requires work and a lot of right decisions that in the moment might not be enjoyable. If I were being honest, those decisions are downright painful sometimes. But having a great group of people you know you can count on to go through it all is what makes it possible to endure. We all need a support system and a cheering section if we're going to make it. In the 18th and 19th centuries, people that were traveling west used wagon trains, a long line of wagons pulled by horses to get across country. These groups would meet early in spring to elect officers, employ guides, and collect supplies. Then once the weather was favorable, they would set out. There were many dangers to traveling across the country, so people traveled like this for safety, as the odds were much higher that they would make it using a wagon train as opposed to going alone. They had to be prepared for challenges like crossing rivers and mountains and facing hostile Indians. Plus, the wagon trains made the trip a lot more enjoyable. You are on a journey too, but you're not going west. You're going to your promised land. A place of deep fulfillment and joy where you are excited to wake up every day because you're walking in your purpose. Getting there won't be easy. You will face many challenges along the way. Just like the people that traveled in the wagon train, your chances of making it significantly increase if you don't try to go it alone. I personally think it's impossible to make it by yourself. You need a tribe. You must continue to cultivate great friendships, and the easiest way to do that is to add value to other people's lives. I see a lot of people that are suffering, but they are suffering because they fail to do the work. What do I mean by that? Think about it. If someone fails to do the work on their diet and exercise, their health suffers. If people fail to do the work in their relationships, then one day they look around and they don't have any close friendships. No one wants to be around a selfish person, except maybe other selfish people. How enjoyable is that? But when you're around someone who is generous and is always looking to add value to your life, it's magnetic. You not only want to be around them, you want to do things for them because you know that they have your best interest in mind. All work involves temporary pain, doing something that may not be fun in the moment to get a desired result or a benefit later. And at CityFam, this is something we understand and we strive to live out every day. This is why when a member of the fam is moving, 15 people will show up at their house to help them. If someone can't pay their mortgage, everyone pitches in to make sure that they have it. When someone is sick, many people will reach out and check on them. Work and relationship requires you to show up, to put your interests and needs aside temporarily for the sake of others. And just like all discipline, it produces a positive benefit later. You get deeper, richer, more fulfilling relationships. This is how we were meant to live. I think this is something we all want and need. I know I did. But it wasn't until I decided to save sex for marriage and really meant it that I was forced to develop these kinds of friendships just for survival. I referenced the immersion technique in the book. Most of us would like to learn another language. Maybe you've even been thinking about it for years, but I'm guessing that not many have actually done it. However, if I dropped you into another country, guess how fast you would learn to speak it fluently? Pretty damn fast. When you know in your heart that you aren't having sex until your wedding night, not only are you able to weed through the duds, as I talked about in week 3, you are forced to develop great healthy friendships that help you go through the process of becoming the best version of yourself. This is why I say often that second only to following Jesus, making the choice to wait until marriage to have sex has been the best decision of my life. Treat developing relationships like it's your job. Be intentional about it. Don't just wait for relationships to happen. Up your friend game. Get around dreamers and the doers. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, so choose carefully. This is why at CityFam we say we are redefining socialization by adding intention to it. Yes, we enjoy hanging out at social events with each other, but we honestly believe that just by spending time together, we are adding to each other's lives and becoming a better version of ourselves. Iron sharpens iron. So show up, lean in, and put others' needs before your own. Is it hard sometimes? Yes. Is it worth it? Yes. Don't be like that guy or girl that joins a gym but never goes. Having that card on your keychain means nothing unless you show up and do the work. It's the same with your relationships, and CityFam is no different. As my friend Billy Lofton likes to say, participation equals value. My best friend in high school was a guy named Rob Weiderman. He was by far the best soccer player I've ever seen. He broke every single record at our school, and he did it all while missing the first 3 games of every season because he was academically ineligible. He was on the cover of every newspaper in our area, and he had several colleges scouting him. In the 12th grade, Rob and I decided to take the school librarian's credit card. We went out and charged over $1,000 of stuff on it before getting caught and arrested. We were both expelled. Rob lost all chances of getting a scholarship anywhere after that. A few years after high school, he started selling drugs and we lost touch with each other. But we reconnected a few years ago, and he told me what he had gone through in his life since we last spoke regularly over 15 years earlier. He had been arrested a few times, he had a drug problem, he was heavy and out of shape, living in a crappy 1-bedroom apartment in a bad part of town with his pregnant girlfriend. Getting expelled with Rob was one of the biggest regrets of my life. Even though we both played an equal part, the fact that I was involved and seeing the way his life played out caused a deep regret in me. And I wanted to do what I could to rectify it. So I started befriending Rob, spending time with him and encouraging him when I could. I even took him to church with me a couple times. He would call me a lot, and I just started a new business and I was busy trying to make it. So sometimes I'd pick up and other times I wouldn't. Then one day, Rob stopped calling. I tried to reach him and I got no answer. I even drove over to his apartment and I banged on the door and I left a note asking him to call me, and I never heard back. Then about a year later, I got a phone call from Rob, and he told me that he had been locked up for the last year and had just gotten out. He had been selling drugs again and he got caught. This last stretch he was in jail, he told me that he had been jumped and had a couple teeth knocked out and he even got stabbed. I made up my mind right then and there to pull him close and show up for him whenever he needed me. We started hanging out more. I would pick him up and I would take him places and I'd pay his way because he didn't have a car or any money. He would call me every day, sometimes several times a day. And I would always stop what I was doing to talk to him and tell him how much I believed in him. And over time, I watched him change. First, he got his driver's license back, and then he got a job. Then he joined a gym and he got into great shape. And then he became the best father to his daughter I'd ever seen. One day I was even able to pray with him at my church to accept the Lord. And he ended up becoming an active member at his church. And if you were to ask him how he did it, he would say it was because of me. Because he didn't want to let me down. Sometimes people just need a nudge in the right direction. Back in 2011, when I was still trying to get it together, I had someone come alongside of me to help me, and that person's name was Chris Lockamy. He spent time with me and he walked with me, encouraging me. And you know what? I didn't want to let him down. Nothing changes people like love. What would the world be like if we all decided to live this way? Well, it starts with you. I love the saying, it's never too late to be who you might have been. And at CityFam, that is our mission, to connect people with purpose and help as many people be who they might have been while becoming those people ourselves. And oh yeah, have a great time in the process. So that's it. You made it through your 8-week small group, and now your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to start a CityFam chapter right there where you live. What does that mean? It means keeping the group together, finding another book to study, and planning your next social and service event. If you're down for the ride, let your group leader know. We're about to go on a beautiful journey together. Thank you for being part of The Truth About Sex. I hope by reading Why Waiting Works and talking about it with others, things were brought to light in your life and you are well on your way to finding love before sex, armed with a great strategy to do so. Hopefully one day we'll get to meet face to face if we haven't already. But until then, keep on living your best lives. We are in this together.